Welcome to the DP Visual Arts exhibition for the class of 2021. This is the culmination of 2 years' hard work. Fantastic creativity seen right across this exhibition, and we're going to display it to you online so that you can enjoy it at any time and you can share it across the world. A huge congratulations to all those students who have done such an amazing job, and a big thanks to the art teachers and all the support staff who've made this possible. Welcome.
My name is LEAH, and my whole theme was focused on my exploration of my identity and culture. So I feel very strongly about my mother's culture. She's from a state in the northeast of India called Nagaland, and I've always been fascinated with all of the craft pieces that come from Nagaland, such as the textiles and also the baskets, which in this art study I abstracted them in my own way, just like Pablo Picasso. I didn't abstract it just once, I actually abstracted it several times and I got various results. So I've used plywood material and I've designed it, most of them on Photoshop as well, which I then laser cutted the design into plywood. I also used lino print. The first layer was the plywood. I applied the paint onto the plywood, and then I stuck it onto a piece of paper, and this is the result I got. I was focusing on the abstract view of a common market from Nagaland. Whenever I look at it, I just remember every Sunday morning, just very quiet, peaceful, lots of people, but yeah, I don't know, that's just home for me, I guess.
So the central theme of my artwork that I've been exploring is the contrast between organic and geometric forms. But lately I've also been including memory into my works and how I can represent memories from my childhood. From the early stages of my work, I've been kind of using more natural materials such as paper mache, and then over time I've kind of found a passion for 3D artworks, so I have a lot of 3D artworks in my exhibition. This is connected to a memory from my childhood in primary school when we used to do a flag raising ceremony every morning. The speaker that the anthem played through was really small and really poor quality, and I remember not really knowing the words to it because the words were really blurred. And so it's this memory of like heavy, kind of a little bit of tension, because also there were a lot of strict rules. You can't move, you can't talk. So then this is kind of portraying that tension and that heaviness that you feel in those moments. So that the plaster represents that.
I'm KATRINA Library KONZUK, and this is my exhibition space. My theme is really about evoking contradicting emotions of like the whimsicalness and the grotesque within the audience. So while I have this theme, I've mainly based all of my pieces on the Brothers Grimm's story of the 12 brothers, which is about brothers get turned into ravens, and then the sister, who I've portrayed here, although it is a self-portrait, is kind of set on fire, but she's saved, so it's fine. I've tried to make everything really handmade because I want that handmade feeling of, you know, oldness, and there's almost a ritual to making something by hand. I'm most proud of the felt painting because it was something I never tried before, but I think what I like the best is the fingers. So I've made 97 fingers, casts of my own fingers, and then I've nailed them into a box. So it kind of reminds me of hunting trophies. You see people go out and they hunt and then they hang the animal heads on the wall, and though I find that morbid, I think with fingers it takes on a whole new sense. Even though they're casts of fingers, it just becomes kind of weird and twisted in a way. I've always wanted to do stuff with felt and oil painting and all of these different mediums, so I'm really glad that I took the step into visual arts as a subject and got to try everything. So what I've learned is that I'll just keep trying stuff.
Hi, my name's Margot, and my exhibition is mainly about the human figure. I'm interested in the psychology behind people and how trauma and scars can cause different layers within a person. So I explore this physically by using layers and movement within my pieces to kind of show how people all mainly have similar scars, but they all show it differently, or they all hide it differently due to multiple factors. It took me quite a while to think of how I could create multiple pieces that aren't too similar but all create the same message. So this required a lot of patience, and I think that's something I'll actually really take with me because I appreciate this patience that I've learned through this course.
My theme is about my movement and immigration, so because I've been an expat my whole life, and I kind of wanted to show that through my work, so how that's shaped my identity. And there's good parts to that. For example, here I have a bunch of objects that show memories, like old house keys and things like that. When I made this work, it was my first kind of more abstract piece, and after that I reworked most of my other works as well to include the latex because I really like the texture and I thought it was really interesting. Also, the latex has kind of memory to it as well, which fits with my theme. But also I think I just learned a lot of new art skills, and I learned to be more open-minded about it as well, because before I only liked drawing, and obviously I didn't do that much of that here. I learned a lot of new techniques and I really liked that.
As a third culture kid, I've always had an interest in my family culture, which is Turkish, and many of my pieces stem from my childhood memories that I spent in Turkey growing up, and a lot of it stems from things such as the calligraphy, Ottoman calligraphy, the architecture, as well as childhood memories such as gardens that I had in my childhood home, like this piece. These clay pieces are representative of myself. As I molded the clay, it kind of symbolizes myself and my imprint on the world. Here we can see the two collages that I've made, and then finally my sculpture is an abstracted silhouette of myself, once again tying to the theme of myself and my identity as a person. I'm most proud of this one. because I think it most accurately links with my cultural identity and my heritage. I did also have to do a bit of research, a bit more about the alphabet and just the writing techniques. I learned to have fun with it. I learned to let loose and experiment in all aspects of art. As you can see, I have a wide range of art. I have animations, clay, paintings, collage, so I've learned to try new things.
I used my art to explore and express the power of internal femininity and like the unity through shared feminine oppression. So like all my materials are linked either to like a political movement or like stereotypes. So a lot of my collage works were inspired by the punk movement, which used collage in zines or fabrics that are very often seen throughout history as a very like feminine material. I'll be honest, a lot of my collages, it's the combination of the collage works and adding the material, because a lot of them were just collages before I added the fabrics, and the process of adding it just kind of tied everything together. So before quarantine, I had a lot of troubles coming up with like art, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what my theme was. I didn't know what direction I wanted to take any of my ideas. And as soon as like quarantine hit, I took a lot of inspiration from fashion and music, and thanks to that I was able to create all of this, and I was able to even like influence my own art outside of school. And that's exactly what I'm going to bring with me, is the taking outside influences for work and school, and also for my personal life. So I'm going to make sure to constantly like indulge myself in things that inspire me, to make sure that I can keep producing what I do.
My name is Robyn, and the theme that I was looking at was time and how this can be communicated through art, and also looking at the feeling of intimidation and an anxious feeling that it can produce in this work. I used a lot of layering of prints. I added detail with charcoal, and I made it a large piece so that when people looked at it, they felt this feeling of intimidation. Another of my favorites was the woven piece that I made. To make it, it took me a very long time, which is shown in the piece, and it's also representative of the idea of time. I think I learned a lot about not only art, but also like the ideas I was exploring. Yeah, the whole idea of time, how this is a big part of my life, and how time is such a fragile but important and scary thing that controls so many people's lives. You know, I can work to get as much, I don't know, money or things as I want, but I can never ever get time. So I think that is an extremely important thing I've taken away from this.
So I'm TINKARA ŠKRLEC, and in my exhibition I primarily explored the idea of abandonment, to sum it up in one word, and the consequences of abandonment, different aspects, so isolation, the idea of a haunting, the idea of rotting away. So for example, this one deals with the duality, because I wanted to explore the idea that even when alone or isolated, when in solitude, we are never truly alone, because we're always with ourselves in a way. I'm probably most proud of this piece because it took me quite a long time, and I'm very happy with the way it turned out, because I had no experience with oil paint, and I think it turned out nicely. You can truly manipulate the audience with art. You can really force them to think something. Basically anything that you do in art is done in order to portray something or to evoke something in the audience.